Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Monday's edition of the dceu Daily. So late yesterday, the rumor was going around that after 2 weeks, Wonder Twins is already cancelled. Wonder Twins is a DC Comics couple of characters. I don't deeply understand them. I saw them in Smallville. They're literally these siblings who can power up and get powers together. They need each other to get power. So 2 weeks ago, something very interesting happened. Not only did David Zaslav and Discovery officially now own the Warner Brothers Pictures studio, but people at Warner Brothers Pictures started green lighting stuff like Aquaman on HBO Max and a Wonder Twins movie or series. I'm not sure which it is. So at the same time, there was controversy about Ezra Miller being arrested twice. And really, all this green lighting was to distract us from that controversy. And of course, Amber Heard, with everything with Johnny Depp, the libel case, her still in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So they do what they always do. Let's green light something that you're never going to see to try and distract you. Last year, when there was controversy during the build-up of the Snyder Cut, they announced that Jason Momoa would be voicing a Frosty the Snowman animated movie. He came out quickly and said that this wasn't true, that this was a lie. He was very angry with the studio. Imagine being so incompetent that you have to lie to cover up your bad behavior, your creative bankruptcy. So anyway, let's read an article about the rumor that Wonder Twins has been cancelled. Think about this. What kind of incompetence has a franchise where you have a Snyderverse, what's canon and what's not? I told you a few weeks ago that the only thing in the DC live action universe is that they're going to release Black Adam. They're going to release Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And next year, most probably, who knows with this studio, they're probably going to release Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and try and release the Flash movie, then restructure their DC live action universe. I told you that. You lot said to me, what do you know? You're a geezer sitting in your room. You've barely got any subs or views. What would you know? Quite a lot. Because most of the stuff I tell you is always true. I told you there was a problem with the Flash movie. Weeks later, we found out about Ezra Miller's situation. Well, you found out. I already knew. I knew they were delaying the Flash and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom 2 weeks before you did, but I kept my mouth shut like a good soldier. Grace Randolph claims she knows stuff. Why didn't she know those movies were being delayed? These people that you stand and you sub to, right, know jack shit and make up a bunch of shit and have shit takes, while people like me, small YouTubers with no following, know more than them. Bad super. I'm happy to see Wonder Twins cancelled, not because I don't want Wonder Twins fans to be happy, but because it's a sign that Zaslav is serious about overhauling live action DC, something I told you all about super a couple of weeks ago. But most of you didn't believe me, right? Rewind the times. They cancelled the Wonder Twins now. Well, this is not official, but it sounds like it's true. So this is an article from CBR.com, who seems to be the only platform talking about this, because others are WB shills. But anyway, DC reportedly kills Wonder Twins film. Warner Brothers Discovery reportedly cancels DC's planned live-action Wonder Twins film, which was set to start production over the summer, by Emily Zogby of CBR.com. Warner Discovery has reportedly cancelled DC Films' live-action Wonder Twins movie. According to the hashtag show, the crew was informed earlier this week that the live-action adaptation of the Wonder Twins had been scrapped before production even began. Actually, they're deep in pre-production. That's what makes it even worse. A reason for this decision was not provided, though the merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery has changed plans for several existing projects. Production was intended to start in Atlanta, GA on July the 5th. Villager, next Grace Randolph and the Fakes insiders will say that they knew Wonder Twins would be cancelled. That's the thing, my friend. These people, Campia, Randolph, are not connected, right? Now, I think she's actually a spy for WB. That's why she's turned against the Snyderverse fandom. Suddenly, by the way, I wouldn't mind if she was consistent about that, because I know lots of people don't like those fans. I'm part of that fandom, as well as being an all-round DC fan. And saying that the Snyder Cut was a failure, when we all know the Snyder Cut wasn't a failure. I actually saw the figures for the HBO Max views. I actually tried to pre-order the Snyder Cut on 4K Blu-ray and couldn't get it for 3 months on Amazon because it was sold out. These people are vindictive and really don't have many connections. Rewind the times. Mick, is this good news or bad news, bud? I was looking forward to this film. Listen, Wonder Twins is a good little property, but obviously you need the right people to make it. KP Appa is from Riverdale. He's a great actor. I don't know much about the young female who was going to play her role. I'm sure she would have been great. I'm sure she is great. I'm sad for them and people on that production. This is very, very good news, my friend. It proves the overhaul is true, as I told you it would be. I believe, and we'll talk about it after this article, I believe the only thing you're going to get are the things that have already been completed. Black Adam, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And also, you're probably, definitely going to get the Flash movie. Hopefully, maybe, hopefully. So that's what you're going to see. After these films are released, even during these films are released, you're going to find out the new plans. You're probably going to find out the new plans. We will probably find out the new plans, even though I kind of know them. During May the 18th, WB discoveries, fronts, and merger announcements. Villager, Zaslav is serious about this. Let me tell you something funny, Villager. A few weeks ago, there was someone, a Latino guy who does box office reports. He told us all not to expect David Zaslav to be hands-on. After all, he's just a CEO. He's got people to do his work for him and not to expect him to make major changes. Another WB shoe, of course. It turns out that David Zaslav is hands-on. He did spend a year in Hollywood, right, asking for advice, investigating how WB's run from other people outside of the industry, and it looks like he is hands-on. They are not messing about. Bat Super, whoever greenlit all these projects should apologize to everyone getting their projects cancelled. Right, I'll tell you who greenlit this. Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada did this to distract from the controversy around Amber Heard and Ezra Miller. They knew these projects were never going to happen, that Zaslav isn't going to allow any of the projects, right, without evaluating them. And this includes Wonder Woman 3, all the J.J. Abrams projects. We'll talk about it. Villager Mick, tell us some of what you know, please. Alex, any chance for Snyderverse for May the 18th? Did you see the J. Oliver Deathstroke storyboard from the Batfleck movie? I got really excited that Oliver was, I know that's not how you say his name, Olivia, right? Or how you say his name, right? Great guy, by the way, very talented. A big supporter of Zack Snyder. He also posted some Deadpool stuff as well. So I'm not sure if he's hinting or if he went on this massive rage tweet. I didn't get it. But it's exciting to see all those posts. So is there a chance for the Snyderverse to be restored on May the 18th? What I would say to you is come here on Movies TV Mad as we react to it live as the announcements are happening and we can talk about it. Rewind the times. Does this mean a future Wonder Twins movie could be made in the future? Absolutely. One that's structured properly, that's part of a DC Studios, which is part of a very popular franchise with consumer confidence, unlike the current DCEU. The bastardized DCEU of Walter Hamada. Alex, pronounced Oliveira, I believe. Oh, wow, I'm too lazy to pronounce things properly. Fuck that. But respect you, Jay. I love you lots. I love you exposing people who are shitty to the Snyderverse. He's great. Anyway, Wonder Twins was announced in February 2022. Actually, it wasn't announced in February 2022. Wonder Twins was only announced a couple of weeks ago. Well, it probably was announced then, but the cast was announced a couple of weeks ago. That's what made things a little bit curious. With Black Adam writer, yes, this is interesting because guess who's involved in this? The Rock's production company and the Black Adam writer, Adam Sitzkiel, set to write and direct. This is interesting because they're even going against the fucking Rock. They don't give a shit. They're not happy. So they don't care if you're connected to fucking Elvis Presley. They don't care if you're Priscilla Presley, right? They're not going to greenlight your shit, right? They're going to sort this platform out. Along with Temple Hill's Marty Bowen and Wick Godfrey producing, the film had also already cast its leads with Riverdale star KJ Apa and 1883 star Isabel May, that's her, set to headline as Zan and May, respectively. Casting for the film's villains was also reportedly underway when the project was cancelled. This news comes after reports following Discovery's acquisition of Warner Media. Warner Brothers Pictures is on the hunt for its own version of Marvel Studios. Kevin Feige, but for DC Films. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav and his team are also reportedly toying with the idea of turning DC into its own solidified content vertical. Moreover, sources state that Warner Brothers is planning a total overhaul of its DC Films division. However, it's unconfirmed that these reports are related to Wonder Twins' cancellation. I can officially tell you they are. It's all connected, everyone, right? So there's that. Let me tell you how desperate they are to distract from the narrative. They've even got an interview with, what's his name? James Wan. Is it James Wan who did Aquaman and has done Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? He had a nice little interview how the production of the first Aquaman wasn't great and he found it stressful, but he really enjoyed doing Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Do you get it? To show you how everything in the garden is rosy. Very, very interesting. This is what they do. I wonder if I can find that interview to read out to you right here and right now. Bear with me. No, we don't want to talk about that pervert. Right, where are we? Well, I don't want to see his... Sorry about this. Right, James Wan, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Let's have a look. Yeah, here we are. This is it. Right, here's the interview, everyone, just to prove a point. Then we're going to talk about all of this. James Wan admits filming Aquaman was painful for Jason Momoa and co, but The Lost Kingdom sounds like a whole different ballgame. The Aquaman franchise is once again innovating to give Jason Momoa and company the appearance of underwater weightlessness. The DC Extended Universe had a bumpy start, but James Wan's Aquaman proved that the burgeoning shared universe was capable of. The DC adventure, its shared universe was capable of. Was a critical and box office success, while the Saw filmmaker debuted cutting-edge new technology to give the cast a sense of underwater weightlessness. On screen, Wan admits that filming the first Aquaman was painful for Jason Momoa and company, but The Lost Kingdom sounds like a whole different ballgame. This week is CinemaCon, and a number of highly anticipated blockbusters, including upcoming DC movies, have debuted footage and revealed thrilling tidbits of information. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is no exception, with Cinema Blend in attendance as James Wan revealed he found new ways to film the cast that doesn't require them to do as much intense and painful wire work, as the visionary filmmaker explained to the crowd. On the first movie, we really put the actors through a lot of physical pain, hanging them on wires and what we call turning forks. It was not the most comfortable apparatus to be strapped into. With this film, we were able to now embrace new technology where we literally captured putting like 100 cameras on the actors, capturing their performances, and then taking what they do and then applying that to 3D version of themselves. They say that if it's not broken, don't fix it. But that's exactly what James Wan and the crew of Aquaman did ahead of filming The Lost Kingdom. Specifically, a ton of cameras were used to help bring the cast of the movie underwater more easily. Well, just have to wait and see if this new innovation helps the sequel's mysterious story. Later in the same panel at Comic-Con, James Wan explained how the new technology positively affected the experience of his cast like Amber Heard, Jason Momoa, and Dolph Lundgren. Given how notoriously grueling film sets are, this was likely some exciting news for those aforementioned stars. As he explained, it's less painful for the actors, which makes it easier for me as well because they're not yelling at me. But the most important thing is it really frees up the filmmaking to really do things I've never been able to do before, and that is exciting. Once again, innovation is key to the filming process for the Aquaman franchise. The effort and painful wire work was ultimately successful in the 2018 original movie, paired with extensive visual effects, but James Wan wants to go deeper with the sequel literally, and a new way of filming seemingly made it easier on everyone. So yeah, a pretty good article there. I hope you were interested in listening to that. I thought I'd read that to you. Always great to see what James Wan has to say. So let's switch off my device now and let's talk about what's going on at DC and with this acquisition from Discovery. Right. So a couple of weeks ago, they announced the casting of KJ Apa and the young woman as these Wonder Twins, right? On the same day or a few days later, they announced Aqualad. I thought this was very suspicious at the time, and people were saying, you see, Mick, everything's all right. They're green lighting stuff. That's what they want you to think. I thought it was weird that they were announcing stuff just as Zaslav and Discovery officially arrived. Now, I'm very well aware now that this is what Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada do now. They announce stuff to distract from problems at the studio and the problems within, the huge problems, the multiple problems within the dceu franchise. We know there are problems. So they keep on playing the distraction game, and it's not working. We saw that at CinemaCon. They couldn't even promote Ezra Miller as the Flash. He was barely in that trailer, I can tell you that as well. And they used Michael Keaton's Batman, as cool as he is, because I was watching Batman and Batman Returns last night. I even watched Batman Forever, which is a pretty neat movie as well, by the way. I gave up in the middle of Batman and Robin, but still kind of slightly entertaining. And so they have a problem. So they try to distract with this casting news and this Aqualad announcement, knowing full well that David Zaslav has told them, we are restructuring. We are overhauling this franchise. It has no consumer confidence. It has no good branding. It doesn't work. They have not taken advantage of the superhero movie and TV trend. It's so popular. It's been popular since X-Men, X-Men 2, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. And the MCU have really taken advantage of that and made it a trend. But DC haven't taken advantage of it at all. Let's have a look at their movies. Superman Returns, Green Lantern, Man of Steel, a great movie, but didn't expand within the mainstream audience. The same with BVS, utterly controversial as much as I love it. Suicide Squad, the same. Justice League. How can you be in a position where you can make the best Justice League movie ever, directed by the person who did the first two Avengers movies, and fuck it up? If you move Snyder away, as I said yesterday, say, okay, Joss, we're going to reboot this franchise now. The first movie of this brand new franchise is Justice League. You and Jeff Johns write it and you direct it, my friend. Do whatever you want with it. I promise you, Joss would have made an amazing fucking movie. And Alex, I'm aware that you love Snyder. So do I. I'm just being practical. If They got rid of him to start again. It was his franchise. You don't bastardize somebody else's vision and try and put some colors in it. It doesn't work. So anyway, let's talk about the present day. So what I've been told is that David Zaslav personally cancelled Wonder Twins, and he's telling them everything that's been greenlit in the past 2 or 3 years is not certain anymore. He's evaluating all of them, but basically what I'm also hearing is that everything that's been greenlit in the past couple of years and hasn't been shot is done. It's dead. It's over. This means that they're basically not going to do Justice League Dark, Zatanna, none of that stuff. Green Lantern Corps, the series, will not be done. It will probably be restructured at a later date. And most importantly, J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman of Color movie is being restructured, as we read last week. It's now going to be a Golden Age Superman with any ethnicity being able to audition. So things are changing with that as well, because Zaslav is desperate also to put Superman front and center, but also he's not happy how Henry Cavill's Superman has been treated. I can tell you that today, and he wants to bring him back. He doesn't want him replaced, and we'll see what's going on there. But they're restructuring, and my man Superman is going to be front and center of that restructuring, because I think whether you like Superman or you find him relatable or not, you know that this symbol is the most recognizable symbol next to the Christian fucking cross or the name fucking Elvis Presley, right? So we know that Superman's recognizable. This brand is recognizable. Do you realize how much money this stuff makes a year? T-shirts. Superman may not be relatable to the younger audience, but you can certainly make him relatable. There's no problem about that. There's no issue with that. Channel Grey. The Batman is by far the best thing going on with DC. They need doing things similar to this. Find directors and give them true freedom. They already mixed up Snyderverse too much. Start over. Villager, RIP, Zatanna. Well, listen, I love Zatanna. Actually, I thought she was great in Smallville. I thought she was great in Justice League Unlimited. All these things that are not going to go forward are going to be restructured and put into the new DC live action universe, but under the structure of a president of a DC Studios, done properly, not things that are just greenlit. Now, the Green Lantern Corps concept they were doing for HBO Max sounded really, really ambitious and really exciting. So not necessarily cancelled, but being restructured. But Super, do you think they will green light a Cavill Superman film before the end of the year? Definitely, yes. That's on the cards. Basically, if you're a fan of the good things that you expect to be in a DC live action universe done well, if you want to see a mainstream universe, right, that does things well, but has variety within that mainstream. For example, you know, Doctor Strange is kind of a horror movie in the Multiverse of Madness. This is what they want to do. They want to have a variety of tones and concepts, but as part of one universe. Now, I don't know what they're thinking about the Batman and what's going on with that. We'll have to wait and see. There shouldn't be any issue with the Batman 2 not going forward or anything like that. Obviously anything's possible here. But it's interesting. We'll see what happens. Hunter Ricky, movies TV Mad. Are they cancelled all HBO Max movies? No. We're talking about DC here. We're talking about DC. And what I would say is, rather than talking about cancellations, a restructuring. First of all, they want to get their house in order. So the first thing they're going to do, my friend, is release, as I said earlier, Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and The Flash. They want to get rid of them. They want to release them. They make what they make. They don't make what they don't make. It's too late for the DCEU. You can't save those movies. Whatever happens, happens, right? But they are restructuring and creating their own universe. Now, I don't know if that means they'll use elements of the existing DCEU and throw other elements out. I think it's complicated to do that because, as I say, the DCEU, the bastardized Hamadaverse, has no consumer confidence. Now, as I said yesterday, you may not, or you may like Snyder, but he did have a vision. He did have an identity. And I think it could be available sooner than we think. There's also issues over at Netflix right now. They're cancelling things left, right, and centre. Be very well aware of that as well. Here's my nephew, Gabriel's in on us. Good morning. Good morning, Gabriel. I hope you're all right. Say hello to my girls. Villager, how desperate is Zaslav to get Cavill back? Extremely. Extremely. He's already spoken to Cavill. He's already spoken to Snyder. He's already spoken to Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan was the first person he spoke to. So Christopher Nolan was one of the people who's been advising him for the past year and telling him what was going on with Jason Kilar. That's why he's not there anymore. And Ann Sarnoff. So he knows. He's been going to the right people for advice. Obviously, Nolan was a hater of the day and date. It offended his love of cinema and the movie theatre. So Zaslav has been talking to these people. So do you think Cavill Death coming back? Yes, I think so. From what I hear around me, I think that's a foregone conclusion. There's a wall in the road of that right now because we don't know who the next James Bond is going to be, and it could be Henry Cavill. Now, let's be clear about this. Just because you're making James Bond, it doesn't mean you can't play Superman. You can't start off with doing a few cameos. So it's all possible. So don't be depressed if in the next few months Henry Cavill is announced as James Bond. I don't know. I'm hearing some things about that. But don't feel unhappy about that because it's all possible. Cavill still wants to play Superman. He's never not wanted to play Superman. It's the elements around him at WB Pictures and because of Justice League that have complicated this. Henry has been very passive-aggressive publicly, saying he wants it. He's pitched stuff to WB. They're not interested. He's interested in it, but it's not up to him. It's up to the studio, and that's right. New ownership at the studio has changed everything. This was their plan, the multiverse strategy, the Flash movie, rebooting a bastardized universe. And the Ezra Miller stuff has really fucked them up. But even with that, Zaslav was never going to accept Supergirl replacing Superman. It was never going to happen. This is a businessman who has put billions of dollars in buying one of the most famous, iconic, legendary studios of all time. He hasn't done that and said to say, yeah, carry on, do what you want. No, he's coming here because this studio isn't functioning. It isn't making money, not just at DC, everywhere. Harry Potter, all the IPs, Looney Tunes, everything. This guy has come here to maximize WB's IP potential and bring back the great old studio we used to watch proudly as young people. But Super, do you think Zaslav will get Nolan to come back to WB and make films? Yes. Basically, this is what people have told me as well, and this is what Zaslav kind of said publicly last year when he announced that he was buying WB. He said he was going to reach out to Hollywood people who feel they've been disenfranchised by WB, Christopher Nolan, and Zack Snyder were on top of his list. Also, before he spoke to Henry Cavill, I told you this before, you've probably forgotten, I remind you, he spoke to Tom Cruise about his experiences on Mission Impossible Fallout with Henry Cavill. Tom gave Henry a glowing kind of account and said he's the best guy to work with, he's a great actor, and to get rid of him as Superman would be a huge mistake. Rewind the time. So, Mick, on May the 18th, what do you think are the main things that are going to happen? David Zaslav will make a speech about the merger. He will tell the world about his plans. He will announce the infrastructure of a DC Studios. It wouldn't surprise me if he announced a Harry Potter and Looney Tunes Studios as well. We'll wait and see. But I'm guessing this is where we're going. Things like that. Not necessarily, right, announcing films. That's not what the plan is there. It's about telling you the plans. Now, he may announce a Snyderverse Studios. Who knows? Anything is possible. Gabriel's in on us. They all said hi. Hi, girls. I love you so much. Alex Nolan, 100% coming back. I hope Snyder comes with him. Look, I don't want to say too much about that at this moment in time, but if I was part of Restore the Snyderverse, I'd keep on working. I'd keep on hashtagging. They are listening. Zaslav himself loves Snyder's work, loves BVS especially. That's his favorite Snyder movie. He likes that more than Watchmen. He likes that more than 300. BVS is the movie he really gravitated through when he was researching Zack Snyder. Villager, yup, the Shields keep pretending that nothing would change with the merger, but no businessman spends billions just to let things go as they were. The Shields need to use their brains. Well, it's not about brains. They're Shields for a reason. They are working with Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada. They want to live in denial, and that's up to them. Basically, I knew David Zaslav was a hands-on guy. And as you say, Villager, who puts billions of dollars in to buy something that's failing? WB is failing, but it's Warner Brothers. You've got the name Warner Brothers already. All you have to do is bring the reputation back. Easier said than done. But what he's doing now with all these passive-aggressive actions are the best thing. Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich thought that they could greenlight some movies, distract us all, and have David Zaslav say, yeah, Toby, you're my man. Excuse me. I'm just choking to death. Don't worry about me. As I said, one day, I'm going to do a whole video with a clear throat. That's my ambition. Small ambitions, but we'll try. So, Gabriel's in on us. Bye now. Bye, Gabes. Alex, any updates on Doctor Strange Multiverse of Cameos? Well, it's interesting. Lots of controversies because someone has leaked the entire movie before the premiere. So people are losing their shit. Keep away from the social media. You don't want to know what happens in the film, but lots of exciting cameos for sure. Villager, apparently they're not that interesting. It depends what you think. You know what MCU shields are like. They get excited about wind blowing. But yeah, so there's that. So yeah. So Zaslav and Discovery have plans. They haven't been shy about telling Variety those plans in that exciting article a few weeks ago. So you can take to the bank. There is an overhaul. No green lighting. No more green lighting of projects. They want to get their house in order. They want to launch a DC Studios. They want to announce a DC Studios president. They want to announce a Warner Brothers Discovery Studios president. Before any movie announcements are made, this is where they're going. They're trying to structure the foundations. One of the reasons Wonder Twins and everything that's been announced but's not in production yet is being cancelled. So very interesting. So for now, what I would say to you, all these upcoming projects that have been greenlit and haven't been made have been paused and not cancelled as they restructure the DC live-action universe. They want brand recognition. They want consumer confidence, and that's what they're doing. And they understand right now there is no consumer confidence. They're asking the question, who's going to go and see Black Adam? Who's going to see Shazam Fury of the Gods 5 days after Avatar 2? Who's going to go and see Aquaman? Who's going to go and see the Flash movie, led by a guy who's actually breaking the law? These are the questions they're asking. They understand that the gig's over. The gig's been over ever since they started, ever since they got rid of Zack Snyder. But even when Zack Snyder was appointed, that was a mistake. Great guy. He made great movies, but not for a mainstream universe. That's the mistake they made. Kyle Williams, I hope they don't cancel Doom Patrol. Well, listen, they're not going to, listen, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Doom Patrol's great, you're right. And that's something else they did. As soon as they decided they were buying WB, they decided to put the CW up for sale, cancel the $1 billion Netflix deal, and literally cancel the Arrowverse. So there are changes. There are big fundamental changes. When people tell me an overhaul doesn't mean big changes, you're wrong. But maybe they haven't read the meaning. Maybe Zaslav and Discovery don't know what overhaul means, but major changes are coming. Rewind the times. I'll be at Doctor Strange 2 premiere tomorrow night at my local theatre. Awesome. Alex, is this not a planned leak? No Way Home leaks seem planned to drive up hype. You know, it's weird because they don't need the hype, but I agree with you. Nobody gets to leak this stuff unless the studios want it leaked. It's like the Flash leaks. It's like all the leaks for DC done on purpose. But super, that's great to hear. They're taking it seriously, unlike Hamada and Emmerich. Well, listen, they're two people who keep on trying to dig themselves out of the latest hole they've put themselves in. They are utterly incompetent, and Hamada is done. Hamada is done. It's as simple as that. Villager, also lol, Batwoman was cancelled. Is this because WB are taking away the IP from the CW? Yeah, listen. Once the CW is sold, they will not have rights to any DC content. Any DC TV will be exclusive on HBO Max and nowhere else. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing because people like me don't have access to HBO Max, but Zaslav has said he wants to reopen negotiations for international viewers to be able to see HBO Max content, including the DC stuff. For example, if you've got Sky on Now TV in the UK, you can watch the HBO Max stuff on Sky Atlantic, and that's where it's heading. So you're all right there. But if you're me in Cyprus, there's no place. You have to do things on the Never Never, which is something I don't like doing, but ultimately, I want to view this stuff. Villager, so Gotham Knights will be cancelled low. The show isn't even filming yet. I'm happy to see the CW fail. I'm not sure what's going on with Gotham Knights, what the plan is, if they're going to basically green light it until the actual platform is sold. I have no idea. It is done by the producers of Batwoman and an ex-journalist called Natalie Abrams, a very woke one at that, who kissed some butts in the entertainment industry and has got the connections that she wanted. You can't trust any of these people. Rewind the times. The only thing that really stinks with the changes, in my opinion, I do love some of the actors and actresses who portray the superhero, and to change them kind of stinks. Well, rewind the times. This is what we're not too sure on at this point. Is this a total overhaul, restructuring, where they totally start again? Are they thinking of a brand new plan where what they're going to do is, this is why they're cancelling the Arrowverse and maybe even the DCEU starting again. So their brand new universe will be in movie theaters and little stuff on HBO Max as well. I don't know how deeply they're going in this overhaul, but it's a huge overhaul. And I'm sorry, my friend, it had to happen because there is no consumer confidence. How do you get a Suicide Squad movie written and directed by James Gunn being a flop in the studio? That must be down to the franchise itself. But super, that season 9 of The Flash is the last season and it might be shortened down. Villager, I don't think they're going to get rid of Gal Gadot, Zachary Levi and Jason Momoa. On the outside looking in, I would agree with you. But this industry is weird. And, who knows? One thing I can tell you, the Wonder Woman 3, directed by Patty Jenkins, is not going to go forward. Now, that film was announced just after the release of Wonder Woman 84. Nearly at the end of this year, it would have been 2 years ago. All we get from Patty is still working on the script. No pre-production, no post-production, no nothing. That film isn't happening either. Now, what happens to the future of Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot is something different. Something they may do is do with her what they've done with the Batman and give her her own individual universe with a decent director, but maybe not involved with a brand new live-action shared universe. Maybe that's the way they'll go. It's complicated. On May the 18th, we'll find out exactly how they're doing this. Excuse me. Right, the Gaming Maniac. Hey, Mick, shame about the Wonder Twins movie. I feel bad for the cast and crew, as do I. But at the same time, I didn't think a Wonder Twins movie should have been a priority right now. Well, listen. If you've got a successful shared universe, this is what Marvel do. They do the little characters, they do the big characters. It's cool. But when you're broken, like the DCEU is, you need to build foundations first. Kyle Williams, David should open negotiations with our lead DC characters. That is here, Ben Gal. We will see, Kyle, exactly what the plans are. They're certainly trying to create brand recognition. That's for sure. Rewind the times. I'd love to see the direction of these DC movies like the MCU, but with the same actors and actresses. I know everything is going to work out. I just hope not to lose some of them. Villager. Yeah, I don't think Patty will even continue with WB. I think they booted her. Well, do you know what? I don't know if you know this, Villager, but everyone's booted her. Once Kathleen Kennedy saw Wonder Woman 84, she said, fuck this, you're not making this movie. That's why Star Wars Rogue Squadron is actually on hold, but still in the slate. But it's never going to happen with her. Cleopatra, she's still producing it, but not directing it. This woman took the credit. Maybe you don't like Snyder, but took the credit for what Zack Snyder did in the first Wonder Woman, right? The Gaming Maniac, I feel they really need to get the core heroes back big time. We need more Superman. Listen, it doesn't matter how you feel about Superman, but he's Superman. As I say, the most recognizable logo, forget comic books and superheroes, one of the most recognizable logos in the world. And you telling me that brand, that logo has no relatability, no potential if it's done properly? Do me a favor. The Gaming, all right, we've already read that, I think. Villager, once I saw Wonder Woman 84, I thought, no way that woman did all the work for WW. No. And that's what I thought. No way. How could it be, Villager? She didn't even agree with the third act. She didn't agree with the sword and the shield. She was triggered because Zack Snyder gave us, posted a picture of Wonder Woman and a bunch of natives holding severed heads. And I agree, that is over the top. But you can't get rid of the sword and the shield. And we saw that mouse scene. We saw the old men watching the aerobics women bending over. We know what she was trying to say. These people won't learn. Let me give you a great example. I love Superman and Lois. I love the Bizarro World episode. But basically, they did that Bizarro episode to make Superman a deadbeat husband and dad, while Lois wasn't as bad as Superman was. These people will never give up, and they need to be driven out of the industry. Villager, I know. Alex, surely Zaslav realizes Snyder is responsible for Wonder Woman 1. Success was screwed over by the studio on his universe. Alex, he knows everything. He knows everything. He knows everything that happened during the early days, during the latter days. He knows everything. He knows what Snyder was put through during the worst time in his life. So Zaslav is aware. That's why I'm saying to you, don't be too concerned about what you see on the internet and what people say, and especially ignore Grace Randolph. She knows jack shit. But what I would say is, if you hashtag, keep on hashtagging. If you put GIFs on Twitter, positive GIFs of the Snyderverse, keep on doing it. It helps. It matters. It's valid. The casting maniac, not only did she take credit, she later then disowned the movie and criticized it when she was promoting Wonder Woman 84. Stupidest decision ever. I mean, imagine, right? The movie made $800 million. Guys like me said a female-led superhero movie is one of the best superhero movies of all time. And she was denying it like it was an embarrassing old uncle at a party trying to dance, right? That's what's so funny about it, because she wasn't really involved in that movie. She's an SJW. She didn't approve of what they did with that movie. She directed it. She basically just said, look at the sky and say blue. That's all she did in terms of that movie. Kyle Williams, in my opinion, Zack Snyder has the best comic book fighting choreography. Oh, he does. It's beautiful. Not just that. It's his cinematography. It's everything. The Gaming Maniac, I'm really hoping Zaslav wants to bring Snyder and co back. Hold your breaths. Be patient to the 18th. A bit more will be revealed. I think Snyder fans will have to be patient. But don't be dismayed. Don't be triggered. Don't feed the trolls. Forget the toxicity of people saying online that the Snyderverse is a bad franchise. You love it. That's all that matters. There's hundreds and thousands of millions of you around the world who love what Snyder did. Zaslav knows this. He's seen the HBO Max numbers. He saw the physical copies and digital, copies sell like hotcakes. He knows. He's spoken to Nolan. He's spoken to Snyder. He's spoken to Cavill via Zoom. So he knows. He knows exactly who the players are, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting on May the 18th. As you know, I'm an all-round DC fan, but I appreciate Zack. I don't hate what Zack did. I just think there was no place for it in a central universe, and it should have been somewhere else. But still, fucking else. If they stuck with that, and they showed us in the Justice League 3, Cavill's Superman basically saying everyone's the Justice League, leading out humans and metahumans to defeat Darkseid, I think the whole world would have said Snyder is a fucking pioneer, but nobody gave the man any patience, and that's a shame. And this is why we're in a bastardized Hamadaverse right now. You can't restructure somebody else's vision. It's never happened in the world, ever. It happens now and again on television franchises, but very rarely in a movie franchise, right? We all know if Feige leaves the MCU and they try and restructure what it is, it's dead. This is what they tried to do with the DCEU, and it didn't work. Justice League, and let me tell you something else that you don't know, and Ray Fisher has hinted at. Walter Hamada was there at the beginning and at the development of Justice League. Walter Hamada was part of the Justice League situation. The Hamadaverse started with Justice League. Take a think about that for a minute. So, yes, if I were you, be excited. Be sad for the people and the fans. Be excited that Wonder Twins has been cancelled. It's funny because Shield's tried to, this Shield journalist said, well, I spoke to the young woman 3 days ago and 3 weeks ago, and she says she's excited to play the role. Yeah, if it's been cancelled, she's going to tell you. And do you know who the last people to know are when these things are canned? The actors. I know that. The Gaming Maniac, Hamada was probably trying to be super middle of the road and sweep all problems under the rug. Of course he was. He was implemented from the moment Snyder was driven off. Joss Whedon was there while Zack was still on the set making his Justice League. Zack even told us that. What Zack and Ray did last year, and I didn't appreciate it at the time, I thought it was kind of negative, but they wanted to, they knew about the sale. They knew about the merger. They wanted to know. They wanted Zaslav to know exactly what was going on publicly. And this has helped in the calls to restore the Snyderverse. Exciting things are happening. But one thing's for sure, they're going to brand a brand new DC live action universe in the right way. So I don't know how they're going to play the Snyder stuff, how it's going to work, but you will see. DC Studios is coming for sure. And I think that's the most important thing, everyone, that a DC Studios is happening. But you can't just open up a studio and call it DC and think the problems are over. You need someone, you need people at the structure with production experience, film experience, television experience, but at the core of these DC characters and universes at their very heart. Villager, Hamada was a rat from the beginning. All this while Snyder was great. Do you know what? I used to defend Walter Hamada. I thought he was the answer. I was wrong. I hold my hands up. I was wrong. But this is what happens when you're a fan of something. You try and, hope for the best. Alex, that's crazy, Mick. Snyder and Fisher had the long game in mind. Oh, yeah. Why do you think they were doing it? Zack Snyder is a tactical genius. How do you think the Snyder Cut was released? Because of a bunch of us that were hashtagging? No, Zack Snyder knew how to blow things up. Carl Williams, how do you feel about Wonder Twins getting cancelled? I'm not a big, I don't know much about Wonder Twins. I'm not bothered by that cancellation. If it means I'm not getting Wonder Twins and I'm getting this dude and his cousin together, especially in a movie, I'm happy. One of my pitches for Superman is actually a film called Superman and Supergirl together. And I was thinking of calling it The House of L, the movie, The House of L. A very interesting movie where they're an actual team. What happens is Supergirl, Kara, rescues baby Kal-El from a civil war on Krypton. Krypton is not destroyed. And they go to Earth. And basically, because she looks like a 20-year-old woman, she brings up Kal-El. He's not brought up by the Kents. She does it. And she teaches him how to use and harness his powers and to become a hero. They become heroes together. So that's my kind of pitch. One of my pitches for a Superman movie. Let me know what you think. The Gaming Maniac. DCEU only had structure when Snyder was involved. After he left, it was just so messy. Exactly, the Gaming Maniac. Because, as I keep on saying, whether you liked what he did or not, he had a vision, he had an identity, he's a good guy, everyone loves him, loved him, still loves him, and things are coming full circle. First of all, you have to focus on DC. Don't worry about Marvel. Stop thinking about Marvel. Focus about your own structure. Build some foundations. What Kevin Feige did was fucking amazing. This is a guy who worked in the background in Raimi's Spider-Man, in Singer's X-Men, everything. He was involved from the very beginning, right? And then he and some people set up Marvel Studios before it was owned by Disney, right? And they set up this franchise and they had a plan from the very beginning. They had a post-credit scene from the very beginning. And everything was being linked, 4 or 5 movies, to a first Avengers movie. Look at what they've done. They're not movies in terms of The Godfather, but what's a franchise? And if you're a fan of that shit, it must be amazing for you. It's an unparalleled success. This is what we need to do. Not copy them, but build our own foundations in kind of the character and personality of these DC universes and iconic characters. The Gaming Maniac, I want to be excited for The Flash so bad, but I'm more scared than anything. The old WB was going to use this movie to move to a different verse, and honestly, I don't want to be in a different verse. Well, they were going to have, a new timeline because of what Barry does, and it looks like Henry wasn't going to be involved in that. Things are very different now. I think they're just going to release these movies because they've been made and they spend money on them, and that'll be that. We'll have to wait and see. The Gaming Maniac, now I'm more hopeful that WB Discovery might come in and change things. Well, they know they have to. There's a situation in life, my friend, right, that sometimes you think we have to do something here. We've lived in denial for all these years. We've done the wrong thing for all these years. But then a new entity like Zaslav and Discovery come in, who have no loyalty to anyone but themselves and the profitability of the company, the iconic old lady that they've bought. They want to regenerate her into a younger woman. I'm talking about WB, a younger, vibrant woman, right? A Statue of Liberty. That's what they want to make WB again. That's what WB used to be, the Statue of Liberty. Something you looked at and you said, that's Warner Brothers. Fuck me. They were threatened by people and they made a movie about who killed JFK and they accused previous governments of the world. Wow. They greenlit that movie. That's fucking brave. That's the Warner Brothers we want again. Alex, the fact they sacked Snyder 5 years ago and they still haven't even got a Justice League in the plan, is mind-boggling, yeah? The people in charge are incompetent. They've been wasting years. Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada and all those people are incompetent. They had the opportunity. They said Snyder was the problem. Where have we got? Where have we progressed since Snyder has left? Nowhere. Now, don't get me wrong. Snyder's done everything in his power to kibosh the bastardized Hamadaverse, and quite right too. The Gaming Maniac. We should have had 3 jail movies by now. Exactly. Villager, what movie are you talking about? Sounds interesting. On my pitch, that was a pitch for a Superman movie, which would star Superman and Supergirl, and I would call it The House of L. And I'll say it again in case you weren't listening, Villager. But we start on the planet Krypton. Kara is about 20. The baby Kal-El is a newborn. There's a civil war. Kara gets the spaceship, puts the baby Kal-El in, and leaves for Earth. They land on Earth. Because she looks like an ordinary human 20-year-old, she brings up Kal-El. She teaches him how to be a hero and how to harness his powers. And they are heroes on Earth together until a threat is coming that will challenge them both. And at the end of the movie, they are forced to go back to Krypton because Krypton isn't destroyed. This is one of many pictures I've got for a Superman movie. As I say, Superman has inspired me since I was a little boy. I have never found this character unrelatable. This guy is an immigrant. My parents were immigrants. I didn't know if I should belong to Cyprus or the UK. Both countries were telling me I was a fucking foreigner. I identify with Superman. I always will. And we can make other people, we can get other people to identify with him, giving him great live action content. Superman and Lois has done a great job, apart from elements of that Bizarro episode, by the way. But we need more than that. Could Superman and Lois be cancelled so they can focus on a live action movie Superman? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Alex, we would have had 3 jail movies and a Flashpoint movie after that. And who knows what else was going to come. Cyborg movie, Green Lantern movie, such insane potential. Exactly. Snyder had a slate. He had Man of Steel. He had a Man of Steel sequel. He had a Batman movie. He had a Cyborg movie. He had a Flash movie, probably with Jon Stewart instead of the other guy, because we saw a Jon Stewart. We were going to see a Jon Stewart in Justice League. WB interfered with that. They deleted a gentleman of colour as Jon Stewart, because Jon Stewart is a gentleman of colour, right? These people are the people who say they believe in kindness and compassion and equality. How can you believe in equality when you were cancelling Latino characters and Asian characters from Zack Snyder's Justice League and a person of colour as Green Lantern, right? And they even wanted to cancel the Martian Manhunter ending as well. Zack said, no, if you get rid of that person of colour, we're keeping this person of colour. What are you on? The Gaming Maniac, you should know, Mick, that's real interesting and could actually fit in the DCEU in MOS. We never see the Kents pick up Cal from the pod. Maybe there's room for Kara to have raised Cal for a bit. Yeah, maybe. I don't think they'll ever do it, but you got a point there. Rewind the times. House of L, fandom of DC, used that title. It's awesome. Title rolls off the tongue. Villager, do you think Ezra Miller would be booted? Well, it looks like they're going to release this movie starring Ezra Miller, but not using him as the marketing. He's done after that movie. I think most people will be. As you say, it seems crazy to think that Jason and Gal and all of them will be deleted, but they may be moved over to the Snyderverse to be used by Snyder. I don't know. I don't know the exact detailed plans, but when they say overhaul, they mean a huge overhaul of DC television and DC movies. They want to start again. They want to create a universe via DC Studios that people love, that people get excited about. Like people get excited about the MCU. When you come out after Multiverse of Cameos, you're going to say, wow, what a film, like I did when I saw No Way Home. Now, I'm jealous of the MCU. That's why I spray out the hate. That's the point. I'm jealous of their success. I'm bitter. I'm bitter as a United fan that Liverpool is successful right now, as they were bitter when United was successful. That's the thing. But you can't deny what Feige has achieved. This is what they want to achieve, and this is what us fans want. A popular studio, live-action universe, and this is what they're going to do. Alex, Mick, I have a dual nationality too. Firmly believe it's why I related so much to Superman, as well, especially Superman in MOS, where he's searching for his place in the world. Exactly. It's always a relevant storyline to do Superman like that. The Gaming made it. I wonder if Snyder would want to keep Miller and Hurd since they've worked together for so long and have a good working relationship. Well, Snyder brought in Hurd and Miller. They're his people. If he wants them, maybe they can compromise. I don't know what would happen about that. But Zack is a kind of person who understands the business. And look, he'll be more loyal to Ezra than he will be to Amber. But I don't know. I don't know how that works and what Zaslav's stance is going to be on it, because now we know he's hands-on and there's no messing about from this guy. He's ruthless. He wants an overhaul. He wants a restructure. And this is exactly what's going to happen. Anyone in denial now about this? The guy, right, behind his back, they were announcing stuff, right? They announced the cast for Wonder Twins. He comes in 2 weeks later and goes, oh, no, you fucking don't, mate. Fuck off. We're not doing this. It's done. Don't green light anything else. Why are you green lighting stuff? Look at it. It's fucking shit. It's a mess. You've got Instagram videos of Ezra Miller running through the fucking desert and you're green lighting stuff. You're promoting a 70-year-old Batman for a Flash movie. What is wrong with you? Are you nuts, he's saying. This is what he's saying. Are you nuts? This is not how you do it. This is not how you run this industry. You wouldn't market a bar of chocolate with an empty wrapper, would you? Villager, do you think Amber will be booted now that she's getting bad PR? Big week in the libel case this week, my friend. It's time for her to put her case. She's going to be on the stand. So she could look very sympathetic. She could have lots of crocodile tears. One of the things, if you're supporting her, to look out for is the cross-examination. I think that's where she's going to be destroyed. The problem with this libel case, and I'm missing all the comments, but the problem with this libel case is this, that what's in question is, what was the op-ed article Amber wrote about? Who was she saying had abused her? We know she was talking about Johnny, right? So, but it's them proving that, right? And also there's another situation. Did Amber and Johnny both abuse each other? You know, the psychologist at the start of the trial said there was mutual abuse. This is the problem. This is why Johnny lost the case in London. They're both as bad as each other. They need to go their own separate ways and start again. Alex, I thought Miller was WB's decision because they had plugged him into 2 franchises and he ticks all of the progressive LGBTQ boxes. Zach cast all his people. He is a big WB man. They are very protective of him, of course, if he can get through this. But at the moment, it's not looking good. So listen, if they start again, they don't need to use him. They're not going to want to use him. It's a shame because he's such an enthusiastic young man. Rewind, sorry, they are very enthusiastic. Sorry, Ezra. Rewind the times. I get laughed at when I say DC is better than the MCU. I can't help it. I love those superheroes, but MCU is just doing right. Listen, I'm a DC man, but I've got all the MCU movies. I like them. It's just, it's not my thing. It's DC's more my thing. And there's lots of DCEU movies that I prefer to MCU movies. But as a franchise, of course, the MCU is so much better. The Gaming Maniac at Villager, if Johnny is found innocent or in favour in court, then she will definitely be given the cold shoulder in Hollywood. Listen, even if she wins, they could still get rid of her. If she loses, she's fucked. Villager A, I doubt the LBGT thing would even draw that many people. Ezra is too messy. Not even LGBTs claim them yet. He's not really claimed by that community anyway. The Gaming Maniac, I thought this was a defamation case. It's a defamation case, yes, because she said that she survived being beaten by someone while she was in a relationship, but she didn't name Johnny Depp. That's the thing. So all this stuff that he's putting out there is irrelevant. Yeah, he's making her look bad, but can he prove that she was talking about him when she didn't even mention his name? She was clever how she wrote it. This is the problem Depp has got. The Gaming Maniac, defamation. Villager, my sources do say that, yes, they did the abuse. I've been knowing this for years, and I'm glad the truth is starting to come out, but people are pretending Johnny is innocent. He is not. No, Villager, they're just as bad as each other. It was an abusive relationship. I don't doubt that she's a bitch. I don't doubt that she probably instigated the thing and he was a nicer guy before. But look, he's admitted he's a drinker. He takes drugs. Many people do. And I'm not going to cast someone out for that. But it's clear that these two people should never have been together. They abused each other. That's why no court case is ever going to find for any of them. But if he loses, it makes it look like she's being supported. That's the problem. And she knows this. You know, that's the problem here. He's trying to clean up his reputation. If I was him, I would never have done the court stuff. I would have kept my head down until this relationship was over and then got on with my life. The Gaming Maniac, as universes go, it's no doubt the MCU is 100 times better, even if the individual movies are average at best. Yeah, that's true. There's a distinction between a franchise and movies. As movies, I prefer the DCEU. As a franchise, the MCU works. Villager, people are also forgetting that Johnny was known as an aggressive alcoholic to the media during the marketing of his pirate movies, but now they're pretending he was always innocent. Yes, he's got a lot of fans. Listen, I think they're just as bad as each other. And I think no one can win this war, and they should have just went their own separate ways. But this is what these Hollywood nut jobs are like. Villager, but anyways, I don't really care. Like both actors, and I want them to continue their work. Yeah, listen, I don't care about them. They wouldn't spit on me or you if we were on fire. It's irrelevant to me. I don't argue about this. I don't care about this. I love movies. I love Let's Pretend. I love movies and television. I love the DCEU. That's all I care about. If she's embarrassing the DCEU, she should go. It doesn't mean that doesn't mean I'm on Johnny's side. I'm on DC's side. So everyone, that's your update for today. Wonder Twins cancelled at Warner Brothers Discovery. This is the beginning of something exciting and new. The problem with something exciting and new, you have to be very patient for the foundations to be laid. So for now, we're just going to have to do with the five movies. Now, don't forget about Batgirl. Batgirl still has no release date. They didn't mention Batgirl, right, at the CinemaCon. Why didn't they mention Batgirl? Not coming out this year, not announced for next year. They announced the Batman, which we wouldn't see any earlier than 2024, at best 2025. So why wasn't Batgirl mentioned at CinemaCon? Has that movie had the kibosh as well? Very interesting. Don't forget, Keaton's involved in that movie. So as I say, an overhaul is coming and anything can be canned at this time. I think Zaslav is even more ruthless than we think he is. Villager, know anything about Aquaman test screenings? All I know is that they're going to have a baby in the movie and that Mira's in it for under 10 minutes and she stays at home pregnant and looking after the baby. I think that's what's happening. I know that Orm and Arthur unite to get Black Manta, who's wearing this really powerful kind of suit, but he could be being controlled by another entity. Bat Super, maybe when everything is in order with DC live action and they are doing well, maybe Sony will get inspired and give us some awesome Spider-Man live action stuff like they used to in the early 2000s. Yeah, I mean, obviously Sam Raimi talking about doing Spider-Man 4, but that's just him talking and not the studio. So we will wait and see. This has been the DCEU Daily with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. I will see you around, not exactly, but around 6 p.m. UK time for Movies TV Mad Live, where we will expand on all these conversations. You can ask me anything, and maybe there'll be even more breaking news by then. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Rewind the Times, Blue Beetle 2. That's going into production soon, so that's interesting. Alex, see you, Mick. See you later, Alex. Thank you, everyone. See you tonight. Movies TV Mad Live, same back place, same back channel. Be there or be square. See you later.